This is session 1 of the Grace of God. Last week we focused on the fact that we have an enemy who we must resist. So this week I want to look at the more positive, and let's look at the grace of God. What do we mean by the word grace? Now, if we receive judgment for something that we have done wrong, and we receive punishment, that's justice. If we've done something wrong and we're judged to have done something wrong, but somebody pays the fine for us, that's mercy. But if we receive something good that we have not earned and we don't deserve, that's grace. God is gracious. He gives us what we need, whether we deserve it or not. Matthew 5:45 says, He causes His sun to rise on the evil and the good, and sends rain on the righteous and the unrighteous. God knows that we need sunshine, we need rain to survive, and He sends it on all people, no matter whether they acknowledge Him or not. This is His grace toward all humanity. He cares for, He preserves all His creation. But then there's a grace that goes beyond that, and it's the grace of God that rescues us from our disobedient nature and brings us into His kingdom. And this is a gift that we cannot earn. We don't deserve it. God does not owe us anything. Ephesians 2:8, For it is by grace you have been saved through faith, and this is not from yourselves, it is a gift from God, not by works, so that no one can boast. And that's what we'll be looking at during this week. But for the moment, let's just look at these two types of grace of God. The first one we call common grace. God provides for everyone. He watches over all His creation, and He wants to better our lives. The second is special grace, and that is where God calls us to Himself and brings us into His kingdom. Now, both these are basic to who God is. And as Christians who seek to do God's will, we should care about both these types of grace. We should care about creation. We should care about the standard of living of all people. We should care about health, about education, and so on. But we should also care that people hear the good news of Jesus Christ, so their eternal future is not as bleak as it will be without Him. So social justice and evangelism need to go hand in hand. And the church, unfortunately, seems to have separated these two. Over the centuries, the church has been very good at caring for physical needs. It was the church that set up the first orphanages, the first hospitals, that began the movement of education for everyone, and so on. But in the 19th century, there was a sort of a liberal theology that started to deny the supernatural nature of faith. And so it led to a humanitarian outreach without the news of Jesus. To counteract that, some other branches of the church doubled their efforts in evangelism, but they did it without much care for the needs, the physical needs of people. And so that divide came about, and it's one that the church still struggles with today. God shows a common grace to all humanity and a special grace to call us into His kingdom. And as Christians, we need to seek to be gracious in exactly the same way.
Giver of grace, how priceless your love for me, purer than silver, more costly than gold. Giver of life, all that I ever need, strength for my body and food for my soul. Oh, you are good, so good to me. Yes, you are good, so good to me. Oh, you are good, so good to me. Yes, you are good, so good to me. Giver of hope, rock of salvation, tower of refuge, that there in my pain, now I'm secure, loved for eternity, showered with blessings and lavished with grace. Oh, you are good, so good to me. Yes, you are good, so good to me. Oh, you are good, so good. are good, so good to me. I'll never know no love so perfect in His faithfulness. It lifts me up to the highest place. A glimpse of heaven and a taste of my inheritance. I know that one day I'll be with you. Giver of grace, how priceless your love for me, purer than silver, more costly than gold. Giver of life, all that I'll ever need, strength for my body and food for my soul. Oh, you are good, so good to me. Yes, you are good, so good to me. Oh, you are good, so